Well, hi, everybody. Ken Johnson here with you, and we are looking at some weather extremes to start off with here tonight. And we're going to focus on the central Gulf Coast, that Siberian air, all the way down into the northern Gulf of America here. And we saw temperatures with solid snowpack from Houston all the way over through the Florida Panhandle into Tallahassee this morning. We're just focused on these temperatures here. Look at Lafayette this morning. Lafayette, Louisiana, 4. And remember, this part of the country, not only do they not deal with much in the way of wintry precipitation throughout the year, but cold weather is also something they don't deal with much. 20s is considered cold there. So 4, one of the all-time coldest temperatures ever. 23 this morning in New Orleans, Biloxi, Mississippi at 17, Mobile at 6, Pensacola at 13, Lake Charles at 6, Beaumont at 7. But here's another crazy thing. When you compare that temperature, those temperatures along the Gulf Coast, and we're going to compare Lafayette, Louisiana, again, 4 this morning, with parts of Alaska, where temperatures were actually near or above freezing this morning. That's about a 25 to 35 degree difference in temperatures from deep south Louisiana. We're talking about the northern Gulf Coast here, to the I'd say the coastal, maybe just barely inland sections of Alaska. Alaska, normally one of the colder places on the continent here. And then, but this morning, one of the colder places was deep south Louisiana. It was even a little bit warm, even up towards parts of North Dakota, Buffalo, North Dakota here this morning at 21. Lafayette at 4. So huge, huge contrast in temperatures. The good news is we are seeing the Arctic, or this big cold air mass, beginning to modify some now and kind of push out. In fact, today we saw 40s and 50s across a good part of the Lone Star State. And even up into Kansas and Oklahoma, 30 is still pretty cold, but not as cold as it has been. In fact, your really cold stuff on the other side of this line I have drawn on here, basically across Canada, the northern part of the country, the eastern part of the U.S. But even here, temperatures are modifying some. There's some chilly air over the Rocky Mountains that will be dropping south, but even that's not going to be bitterly cold. Just looks like during the day across Oklahoma, Texas, and the central southern U.S., cool, especially compared to what we saw earlier this week. Instead of cold, kind of cool. But at night, still pretty chilly, as temperatures could still get into the upper teens and low 20s. Now, there's going to be a storm center that's going to be moving out of the Rockies here Friday into Saturday, and that really turns the page here on the cold weather. And we see a return of mild, breezy weather. We're talking about Friday and Saturday. Gusty winds out of the southwest, temperatures 50s and maybe even up close to 60. Now, this front is going to drop through Saturday evening, and behind it, I have cold on here, but it's not cold like what we just saw. Kind of seasonably cold air. We're talking about 40s, overnight lows 20s and 30s. Now, it may be just cold enough with a little moisture maybe on the horizon for maybe a slight chance for a little maybe freezing drizzle on Sunday in some areas, but right now it doesn't look like a major deal for the area, the region here. So if we take a look at the upper level charts, this is the 500 millibar weather chart. When we forecast weather as a meteorologist, we look from the top down. And the top is where really plays a big role in how we make a forecast, because that kind of shows our weather pattern. And it shows where storm systems are. So at 500 millibars, or 20,000 feet, we're not only looking at the flow or the jet stream in the atmosphere, but we look for these areas of upper level energy. And that energy would basically be what leads to your storm systems here. So if we look, this is next Monday. This is upcoming Monday here. You've got this big circle over here. That's what we call a big upper level low that's kind of branched off here. This would be your southern jet stream. There's your northern. There's your polar vortex up here to the north. Let's put this into motion here and watch how things evolve. Polar vortex is kind of shifting eastward here. So your colder air with that would probably shift kind of east with it. Now here comes this system slow, because there's nothing to really push it. You don't have something above it here to push it out. So it's a slow move to the east. Now this type of a weather pattern could wind up resulting in some cloud cover and maybe periodic bouts of rain across the central and southern part of the United States next week. Now, underneath these lobes of energy, the air can be pretty cold, and especially if you get heavy enough precipitation, that can result in some snow, and you typically would expect to see that back across the Rockies here. But even into Thursday, there's that piece of energy. Look at how it's just slowly moving eastward there, and it's out ahead of it. That's where you would see your precipitation. And I think at some point in time, this could help bring some decent rain chances to the deep south here, but this go round it would be rain and probably not snow. But again, underneath the colder air, there might be some snow back off to the northwest there. So if we take a look, this is European weather data here. There's our storm center. This is back into Saturday. This is this upcoming Saturday here. We put everything into motion, and there's Sunday. Some wet weather, perhaps maybe across East Texas. Not snow this time, but rain. It's just you don't have the Arctic air in place this next go round. It's kind of continental air, so it's not as cold. And there could still be clouds and rain around here in the central and southern part of the country. There's your next better chance for rain. And again, this could change. This is still better than a week away here, or about a week away here. There's your storm center slowly moving east, throwing perhaps a wave of rain over the central and southern plain states here on Wednesday, late Tuesday night, Wednesday here, and then back across the Rocky Mountains there in New Mexico and Colorado. Higher elevations could be some snow with that. And then this lobe of energy sits here and spins, and then there could be another wave of rain maybe late next week with that too. And again, maybe on the colder side of things, maybe some ice and some snow. So a lot of time to watch this. It certainly doesn't look like a winter storm this go round, but maybe a gloomy pattern. By that I mean kind of cloudy, maybe some off and on rain chances next week. But this is just kind of showing you the weather data right now. This is not the official forecast, but these are trends we like to watch. Another trend, we're watching for cold air. And when you watch for cold air, of course, you want to watch back up into this area here. This is as of now. Hudson Bay and kind of the central and northern parts of Canada is where the coldest air is located. And again, you got the modifying air down to the south. There might be some waves of cold air across the northeastern part of the country, but you don't see that big Arctic outbreak like we saw earlier here in the week. As we head towards the 28th of January here, cold Alaska, the North Pole, Greenland, down into Canada, maybe the Great Lakes in the northeastern part of the country here, but most everybody else milding up. So maybe the second half of January a little bit milder. In fact, there's some really good stuff down towards the southern part of the country. Those places along the Gulf Coast that are in the deep freeze tonight, you could be really nice maybe in about a week or so from now. But remember what I say, though, when it warms up in Alaska is usually when we get our dumps of cold air here, and we're just watching trends again. This is as we head into early February. This is still a long way out, and this is just showing you some ideas here, what it might be like. But mild over the U.S., at least early on here. But we'll be watching to see. There's some indications that you might start seeing a little warming there in Alaska, and that might allow for this cold air that's sitting up here and spinning for the next couple of weeks, perhaps to drop back south. So we might see another shot of cold air early February, maybe. But until then, like I say, there'll be some ups and downs in temperatures across the region, across the country here. And it will be a little cold at times, but nothing bitterly cold like what we've just experienced. But we'll keep an eye on February. February can be a very cold month. Remember 2021, that big cold outbreak? Well, that was in February. So we can get cold air and really cold air in February. And at least across Texas anyway, and Oklahoma, usually our bigger winter storm would come in February. So we'll keep an eye on that as well. Thanks for watching, everybody. Stay warm, and I'm glad that things are starting to warm up for us some here and starting to thaw out a little bit. Remember to like, follow, and subscribe to my pages.